Hello, I'm Evan Brand. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition. I'm a functional medicine provider. I've seen over 3,000 cases. I've had 30 million downloads of my podcast, and I'm super pumped to be with you today. We're chatting about fatigue. Now, I polled my Instagram audience. 96% of the 50,000+ followers there said they have fatigue issues. And this is a huge problem. It's gotten way worse in the last 5 years with the virus, with these things that go in the arm. I've seen a massive uptick in chronic fatigue, histamine intolerance, mast cell activation, and many other issues. So today we're going to dive straight in. Let's talk about functional medicine labs. What should you be looking at if you have fatigue, and how do you get to the bottom of this thing once and for all? Well, it took me 6 months to build my Long Haul Warriors course, and that was all about the virus, looking at all the key mechanisms that were affected in the blood, in the mitochondria, in the gut. So I'll put the link below if you want to check that out. I'd love to have you as part of that. If you think you've never fully recovered, that is the place you want to be. And this is based on clinical experience, but plus, like I said, 6 months of research, combing the literature, figuring out all the key mechanisms of the ACE2 receptors and how things are affected to create chronic fatigue. Now, on to your average fatigue. Maybe you say, hey, it's not related to the virus. It wasn't related to this thing. Didn't get it. Okay, cool. Well, here are what you need to be looking at outside of that. So number one is going to be blood testing. Specifically, you need what's called TPO and TG antibodies. Now, these are specific thyroid antibodies that your endocrinologist is likely not going to run. Why? I don't know. You can ask them, but they don't do it. And if they do, they might run free T3 or free T4, but it's very rare to see an endocrinologist doing all. So I can help you. I can order any blood test under the sun for people in the USA, and we can get you a functional panel, meaning it's much more in-depth than what your conventional doctor is going to run. Now, we're also going to be looking at your iron panels. We're going to be looking at your red blood cells. We're going to do a full CBC to see exactly what's going on. There could be anemias due to excessive bleeding. Maybe you've had heavy menstrual cycles for many years or decades, or maybe you've had issues with babesia, which we're going to talk about in a minute, leading to red blood cell deficiency problems. We see this all the time. So step 2 is going to be a GI panel. Specifically, if you follow me for a while, you know I love the GI map. It's my favorite stool test. It seems to be very accurate. We've put it up against other competitors, and we seem to find more infections and more accurate data out of that than any other panel. And the cool thing is, it's at home. You don't have to go to a lab. You do this test at home, you send it back to the lab, and we get the results. Now, what we're looking for in that are yeast overgrowth. We're looking for gut inflammation. We're looking for signs of malabsorption. We're looking for SIBO, that's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. We're looking for parasites. We can also find worms, H. pylori, and many other infections. You may have known this if you follow my podcast for the last 12 years. I had H. pylori, I had Giardia, I had Cryptosporidium. I grew up playing out in the woods, being in the lake, being in the river, being in the creeks. And when you get exposed to contaminated water or food or soil, you can get exposed to parasites. Now, you may be like, why are we on parasites now? Well, remember, these infections here, they all rob your energy. So fatigue is what's going to happen if you have these gut bugs. Also, you could probably have anxiety, depression, skin issues. That was certainly my story as well. Not to mention teeth grinding at night. So if your kids are doing that, we got to look. Number 3, organic acid and myco. You should know by now, I frickin' love organic acids testing because you get so much data from a fasted urine sample. Wake up, pee in the cup, get it back to the lab. We're going to look at mitochondrial function, neurotransmitters. So we're going to measure dopamine, serotonin, the whole catecholamine family. Hint, spoiler, most people, they have low brain chemistry. And that's why society is so apathetic, depressed, anxious. I've been talking about this. Look at my old videos. I was saying this a decade ago, and it's only gotten worse. Come on, we got to wake these people up. We got to get the neurotransmitters optimized. We're going to use key specific amino acids to do that. We're also going to look at fungal infections. This is massive. Organic acids testing can show us specific arabinitol, we've got tartaric acid, carboxycitric acid. These are different organic acid markers tied into fungal colonization, meaning if you've had exposure to mold, you now could be growing that, and that's going to drive a hell of a lot of problems, including mitochondrial dysfunction, neurotransmitter issues, bloating, burping, sugar cravings, brain fog, dizziness, vertigo, you name it. So fungal infections are huge on the oat test. Nutrient levels as well, so B vitamins, vitamin C, glutathione, we measure all that on the oat. Myco, So that's a combo test, meaning that one urine sample can generate 2 reports. Mycotoxins are super common. Mycotoxins create all these issues as well with your brain chemistry. It's in the literature. Ochratoxin, it's one of the most common mycotoxins we see. It affects your dopamine levels. And so if you're struggling with your motivation, your energy, you just can't get things done, maybe you've been diagnosed ADD, ADHD, all these different issues could be stemming from high mold toxicity. This could be your single biggest smoking gun. Number 4, Lyme and co-infection testing. Co-infections are things you can get from the same tick bite, mosquito, lice, fleas, etc. If your pet's ever had fleas, those fleas can jump on you and transmit Bartonella. Bartonella drives massive inflammation in the capillaries, so you could have cold hands, cold feet. You could have neuropathy that's actually misdiagnosed, and it could be Bartonella. Babesia, so if you've had dizziness, if you've had blurry vision issues, maybe when you turn your head like that, you feel kind of woozy and drunk, Babesia could be in your brain. I've had Babesia personally. I can tell you it is a beast of an infection. It is technically a parasite that lives in the red blood cells. So that's why I was telling you earlier, for men, they're like, hey, I don't have a menstrual cycle. How would I have anemia? Babesia can affect your red blood cells. Now, Bartonella, it'll drive massive anxiety, massive depression, but it'll also drive fatigue. So remember, all this combination of mold toxicity, fungal overgrowth, Lyme, Bartonella, Babesia, gut infections like parasites, low thyroid or Hashimoto's, autoimmune thyroid, low blood cell counts. All this is how you fall apart with major debilitating fatigue. This stuff can be reversed. Obviously, we're testing, we're not guessing with our health. When we find these root causes, we can fix it, and we don't have to use pharmaceuticals. Vyvanse, Adderall, all of these stimulant medications that even young children are being put on makes me so sad because they're missing the boat. And I see mold toxicity, Lyme, and all these issues in children all the time in my practice. I do a full telemedicine practice, so if you need help, please reach out, evanbrand.com. You can check out the link below, and check out my programs as well. I've had thousands of students go through my programs where I teach you before and after how to read your labs, how to interpret them, how to make protocols to fix your issues. There's so many people in all walks of life, practitioners, yoga teachers, stay-at-home moms, you name it, and everyone is getting better. So I'd love the opportunity to help you. This is Evan Brand signing out. Take good care. I'll see you in the next one.